Calaroga Shark Media.
Happy Shane Gillis Day. I'm Johnny Mac with your daily comedy news. Shane hosting SNL tonight. The New York Times wrote a big article about Shane. They resurfaced a 2021 interview with Shane from the Joe Rogan Experience, on which Shane said he had told SNL about the tone of his podcast. Lorne Michaels supposedly asked Shane, "Do you have anything you want us to check out?" Gillis replied he had a podcast. As the New York Times quotes, "I say like gay and retard a lot." According to Gillis, they were like, that's fine, don't worry about it. The Times reminds us that year Bowen Yang joined the cast. In 2020, Yang told the Times, "The reason I didn't comment on it was because there was a sense of opposition being created between the two of us, right? But a lot of it was invented because it wasn't like he was making any comments about me specifically." So why is Shane back? Well, the Times went with this. When hosting SNL in 1999, about a year and a half after being let go, Norm Macdonald said, "I wanted to keep my job, and they felt the exact opposite. How did I go from not being funny enough to even be allowed in the building to being so funny that I'm now hosting the show? How did I get so damn funny? It's inexplicable to me. Then it occurred to me I hadn't gotten funnier. The show had gotten really bad." Time magazine writes, SNL's Shane Gillis flip-flop comes as no surprise. This is a very good article I shared in the Facebook group, Daily Comedy News Podcast Group. Time writes, on SNL, the buck stops with creator Lorne Michaels, so it seems fair to presume that the choices reflect some combination of his tastes and what he and his team believe viewers want to see. And to hear him tell it, he never stopped being a fan of Shane Gillis's work. As he explained in 2022, NBC was in something of a panic. It was like they're going to boycott the sponsors. Reflecting on all this in 2022 in an interview with Andrew Yang, the rich guy that ran for president, remember him? Shane told Andrew, "I understand both sides of the argument. He should be fired, or he was just joking. I'm not a victim. There's a video of me using a slur. There's going to be some backlash." Time says that might not seem like much. It certainly isn't an apology, yet it's remarkably rare to hear such a clear-eyed articulation of his own predicament. Usually comedians double down, refashioning themselves as free speech warriors. Chappelle. Sorry, I had a cough there. Railing against cancel culture and ultimately embracing an audience friendlier to their brand of bigotry. Some, most prominently Louis C.K., have issued apologies and disappeared for a while, only to resurface with material geared towards reactionary fans. Gillis can be refreshing in that he doesn't pretend to have all the answers or be an exemplary human being. In his jokes, he casts himself as ugly, bad at sex, subjectively inferior to his girlfriend's Navy SEAL ex. Live in Austin opens with the comedian roasting his own hair. Then he advises an overwhelmingly white male audience, if you're white, don't get a Dominican haircut. You just end up looking more racist. He then does a brief impression of the Dominican barber. Time writes, it's a bit of a punchline overload. Who's actually the butt of the joke? Gillis, Dominicans, racist white people with their stupid haircuts? A thorough review of the context surrounding the racist language that knocked him off a pedestal might lose some nuance. The new material might even be enough to make you wonder whether SNL hadn't been overly hasty in cutting him loose. Would a comic this perceptive really step off the stage and spew hatred for its own sake? Time writes, unfortunately, yes. If an interest in history is a gateway to republicanism, then Gillis's stand-up, that's a callback to a joke, that's not a dig from Time, then Gillis's stand-up might be a gateway to his partially paywalled empire of slurs, conspiracy theories, and all manner of other bigotry. Seth Simons has made a study of all the things Gillis says outside of his aisle-crossing stand-up in the Daily Beast. I talked about this earlier in the week. He offers a damning indictment of Gillis's choice to platform Holocaust deniers, one of whom happens to be his podcast co-host's brother. Simons' broader rundown of the comic's recent utterances for the LA Times features N-words, anti-Semitic K-words, and a crude impression of someone with Down syndrome, the misgendering of trans women, praise for Proud Boys founder Gavin McInnes, and as well as that old standby, caricatures of Asian people. I'm looking forward to this episode tonight. I will talk about it on Monday because, SNL ends at 1 a.m. and Johnny Mac goes to bed. Speaking of SNL, I think this is really cool. Colin Jost and Michael Che are celebrating St. Patrick's Eve. See, this year it's a leap year. St. Patrick's Day was supposed to fall on a Saturday, which is awesome. When I used to be the mayor of St. Patrick's Day, there was one year I lost my voice on St. Patrick's Day. I went out anyway. But because of the stupid leap year, St. Patrick's Day is a Sunday, which sucks. So Jost and Che and Jameson Irish Whiskey are promoting St. Patrick's Eve. Che tells People magazine, we don't really like doing brand deals. That's not our thing. But for a really good cause like leap year, we had to. Che says it'll possibly be the greatest holiday that will ever exist Even though we just found out about it, feels like we've been celebrating it forever. Jost said, I think this is going to be at least the second biggest countdown of the year that happens in Times Square. Top 2 for sure. Jay says, obviously St. Patrick's Day is a big deal in New York. I just always love that everybody's in kind of the same spirit together. It's very rare that a city this big finds something we could all agree on. And just kind of cool to see everybody on the same page and having a good time. Jost asked, did you ever march in the parade? Jay says, march in the parade? What am I, a cop? No, I never march in the parade, but I've seen it maybe 40 times. Chris DiStefano said he had a callback audition for a reporter role in James Gunn's Superman reboot. I don't think he got it. He was up for Steve Lombard, who apparently is the Daily Planet's sports reporter. That must have happened after I became an adult and stopped reading Superman comics. Lombard often has a comedic undertone and is something of a workplace foil for Superman's nerdy Clark Kent secret identity. They often have a strained relationship, but wind up being good friends. Who knows? Rory Scovel's special's out on HBO Max. I'm not adding it to my end of the year list. A couple notes here. And this isn't at Rory. This is at everybody. The intros on these comedy specials, they're too long, man. Like, get to it. Rory's thing was like 2 minutes. Kevin James did the same thing. Get to it. It's the 21st century. We've all got ADD. We're all playing on our phone while the TV's on, and you're just going to like walk out to music for 2 minutes and the crowd cheering. Just get to it. Tell a joke. So I got through all that, and I got to admit, the long intro already put me in a funk. You're already digging yourself out of a hole because I'm already annoyed at the direction of the special. But I'm going to play a clip here, okay? I want you to pay attention. I've been noticing this a lot on specials. Are the comedians adding laughter to specials? You tell me. Listen to this. I'm going to play a clip. The initial joke is solid. It definitely deserves the laugh. But then listen to the tags. Listen to the way the audience reacts to the tags. To me, feels like a sitcom. I feel like the laughter is way out of whack with the relative hilarity of these tags. You tell me. I also want to be fair here. After the word holy, he said the S word. I try and keep this podcast clean, so I've made an edit here. Other than that, it's as it aired on the HBO Max special. Take a listen.
Have you ever met someone who's like, I've read the whole Bible? Is your first thought, oh my God, we should hang out? The whole Bible? What are you doing tonight? Holy, the whole Bible. You ever seen somebody with a highlighted Bible? Why did that start? I just thought Jesus made such a good point here, and I was reading it, and I was like, wait, this is me. But Jesus said it back then? Huh.
So what do you think, huh? Yeah? I don't know. I'm noticing a lot of that. Anyway, that does not make the end of the year list. The list continues to be only number 1, Dusty Slay, number 2, Taylor Tomlinson, not on the list, Pete Davidson, Jackie Novak, Kevin James, and now I have to add, I already forgot his name, Rory Scovel. I would hate to think people are adding laughter to their specials, but Mitch Hedberg had a joke 20 years ago about sweetening, so might be a thing that happens. Again, use your ears, you tell me. Got a lot here for a Saturday, huh? The Washington Post caught up at that Robert F. Kennedy fundraiser. Jeremy Piven compared white men to Bitcoin, saying, we were the toast of the town and now everyone's trying to dump us. Rob Schneider prowled the stage in a fedora, says the Post. He complained in California public schools, one day you drop off a girl, in the afternoon you pick up a boy. Schneider said, I'm old enough to remember when the Democratic Party was the Democratic Party. Remember when they were against war, censorship, don't trust your government? It was really a joke, was it? Post says people appear to have come for the politics as much as the comedy. They laugh, but just as often cheered things like the Constitution and Mike Lindell and booed things like Jimmy Kimmel and Gavin Newsom. The crowd was diverse in age and style of dress, but mostly white and skewing male. In an informal survey of 20-odd attendees, quoting here, only one, a sharp-dressed black man named Emmanuel, said Biden was the second choice. The rest leaned toward Trump, unquote. The evening's entertainment was heavy on podcast comics, loosely connected to what some have called the manosphere. I have not heard that term before, the manosphere. Among the audience, which paid $150 for theater seats and up to $1,500 for after-party access, podcasts were cited as an important source of information. Theo Von's name came up a lot, as did Adam Carolla. Both have given RFK Jr. a lot of airtime. The LA Times adds, so what got the crowd going? Jokes about lockdown masking, Biden's age, the pathetic Democrats, and more masking. Not sure if they're quoting someone here or paraphrasing, but they wrote, isn't it funny how you had a mask when walking into a restaurant, but not at the table? How about on a plane? Or visiting your elderly mom? Should I do that as Angry Jerry Seinfeld? Isn't it funny how you had a mask and walk into a restaurant but not the tail? How about on a plane or visiting your elderly mom? Quite the show. Variety caught up with Michael Keaton about the sequel to Beetlejuice. The movie is titled Beetlejuice, and I'm not saying it a third time, not falling for that, but it's that word twice is the title. Keaton says it's the most fun I've had on a set in a long time. The one thing that Tim Burton and I decided on early on from the beginning, if we ever did it again, I was totally not interested in doing something where there was too much technology. It had to feel handmade. It's the most exciting thing. When you get to do that again after years of standing in front of a giant screen pretending somebody's across the way from you, this is just enormous fun. What made it fun was watching somebody in the corner actually holding something up for you to watch everybody in the shrunken head room and say, there are people under there operating these things trying to get it right. We thought, we have to get this right. Otherwise, don't do it. Let's just get on with our lives and do other things. So I was hesitant and cautious, and he was probably equally as hesitant and cautious after all these years. Once we got there, I said, all right, let's go for it. Let's see if we can do it. B word, I'm not falling for it, is the most fun you can have working. It's so fun. It's so great. You know what this is? We're doing it exactly like we did the first movie. There's a woman, a spoiler, in the great waiting room for the afterlife, literally with a fishing line. I want people to know this because I love it. Tugging on the tail of a cat to make it move. Movie sequel, I'm not falling for it, in theaters September 6th. Hopefully that gets people re-interested in the musical. I saw the musical. It was fantastic. Paul Verzi is taping his next special at the Den Theater in Chicago tonight. And on YouTube, Yemeni American comedian Ahmed Al-Qadri is releasing his first special. Ahmed brings his striking, goofy charm to tales that span the spectrum of life's absurdities, from taking mushrooms at a Lizzo concert and playing Taboo with his brothers to the comedic nuances of dual cultural identities. That one's called Special Not Special. You'll find it on YouTube. And that is your comedy news for today. Hopefully Shane Gillis creates all kinds of controversies. I like the controversies. See you tomorrow.